Hey everybody, how you doing today? I hope you're all doing pretty well. Had a bit of a busy morning, but doing fine now. I'm ready to start on streaming. All right. More specifically, programming. So I think yesterday I was able to finish most of the. Yeah, let me adjust my micros. making me lean forward a bit too much. Yeah, we finished most of the layered textures. And, oh right, so everything works so far except I need to make more unique textures for the other terrain types just for testing to make sure it works right, and then maybe we can actually do some more pretty looking art. Let's open up the terrain texture. Okay. And so I just need to make different stone and grass versions for each of these. Alright, so I guess the easiest way, I won't delete them. Let's just move them off. And then I'll copy and paste. Oh, it didn't paste it in the same position. Okay, well that actually worked out fine. I was gonna say it's gonna be might be hard to align them because they're not squares anymore, but this one thankfully snapped for me. Alright, so let's just take this gray color. And I'll just paste it. Alright, and we'll get looks more blue here, that's funny. I guess because of the purple's not there to contrast with it. Oh well, doesn't really matter. We'll have a darker version for that. Then I'll grab the grass. Oh yeah, I need to make this one darker. Okay, so that should be fine. Let me go ahead and export it. And now all I should need to do is rebuild the asset bundles and it should work. Oh, well, there's still one other thing I have to do. Build asset bundles. So I need to set the new indexes here for the other prototypes. So this is saying it's tile 0 through 5. And so these next ones will start at tile 8 and then go on from there because there's 8 tiles in a row. And then grass starts on tile 16. Okay, and that's all good now. So I think, yeah, while I was doing that, it finished building the asset bundles, so I can go ahead and grab them. Oops. And then I need to navigate to the mod folder, which is in streaming assets. All right. Okay, so now we have different tile types. Okay, and it's still working good. Yeah, we can see the dark gray is underneath the dirt texture, and then here it has the really dark stone as the lowest priority because how it decides. Well, these are actually the same altitude. So if there's an altitude tie, it goes based on just the block index, and so this and the lower one goes first. Or the lower one has higher priority. Okay, and so if we have a 3 blending here, yeah, we can see. It's actually hard to tell because it's so black, but what's that green? I don't know where that would be coming from, but it's probably just an artifact from having low resolution. Because there's nowhere that green touches the gray triangle. Yeah, right here. Maybe, okay, well this might be an issue with, what am I trying to say? The way you, Inkscape exports PNGs is that, like, even though this alpha is set to 0, there has to be some color here, and maybe it decided to set that color to green, so then when you do a bilinear blend mode between them, some of the green can leak into here. That would be kind of annoying. Most things usually have like a margin around an invisible area that has the same color so that you don't have that issue, but Inkscape I know already has some problems with its PNG export. How can I check to see if that's what's going on? I wonder if I can open it in Ace Sprite and then somehow get rid of the alpha channel. Or I'll just select something right here. Okay, that doesn't... Okay, I think I'll just save over this, and maybe this will, when I export it, or when this resaves the file, it will do it better. But besides that artifact, which might not even happen in the final game, cause, well, in something with actual assets, because we're going to have better looking, or high resolution textures. Yeah, so here's something else. Is that, okay, maybe it's not actually green, it's the orange margin color bleeding through. Also like black right there. Oh, I think the reason that there's black on the edge of the triangle is because I don't have anything. Yeah, so what I really should do is this should go a little farther into the margin. I forgot to do that when I made these textures. Yeah, but that's not a big deal. Because yeah, it's just for testing. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, so I think this will look really nice when we get some real textures in here, I think. Because it's gonna give me and other artists a lot of control over how each of the margins between hexagons looks. Alright, so let's go in here and see what I need to do. I need to do distortions. Okay, well, I did test that, so I guess, yeah, we have alpha blend mode I think is completely implemented now, so I need to do the actual art. Yeah, I don't know. Let me rebuild the asset bundles just to test when I exported it with Ace Sprite if it fixed those artifacts, or at least some of them. Well, I'm not going to worry about it too much unless they start showing up in a higher resolution texture, because that would mean that it's some bug in my code or the shader. Oh, Okay, well I built the asset bundle, but I didn't move it to the mod folder, so it'd still use the old texture. Okay, well that's the orange one. I think I saw it like over here. Okay, well it's still there, but I think it's not actually green. It's really just that orange margin color. It just looks green because it's blending into black. Yeah, because you can see it's there, and yeah, when you darken yellow, it starts to look kind of greenish, so I think that's all that's really happening. Is the orange margin color is bleeding into this dark green color. Oh yeah, this is actually very dark green, so that might be why it's blending into green, but... Okay, so let me see here. I'm gonna need to really increase the size of the texture map. Well, do I want to do the art right now? I guess that's the real question. Okay, I guess I'll have a separate header for the actual art. So we'll have something for dirt. We'll need the hex face, and the margins. And I think at least some of these will still benefit from having little decoration models. Although I don't think they'll be the main what should I call it? Like the main, like I don't think we're gonna lean on them as much as I originally thought because, oh, I guess I still need to do this. So maybe I should real quick before we do the art. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't think there'll be like little pebbles all over the place on the dirt. I think that will mostly be clear because we don't need it to add a little space here so my portrait doesn't get in the way, or my webcam. But we won't need to lean on them to create interest as much because we'll actually have texture there instead of just a flat color. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll do this. I think I can mark it. That's not, yeah. Although that looks bad. Fix UVs. Okay, I don't think there's any reason to do this because the UVs never... Like, the triangles are not ever regular. They're always stretched a bit because of changes in altitude. Although I guess they are regular when it's flat, but it's not a huge deal. This will maybe do, but with this new alpha blending, I don't think it's really needed. There is one other thing I wanted to maybe think about is, like say that you wanted to have a whole bunch of, okay, well now that I think about it, I don't know exactly how I would do that, but it'd be nice if there was a way that I could just specify a certain range of textures or tiles, and then the mod would like automatically generate this type of thing for me, so I wouldn't have to type it out. I could just say texture claim, and then a range of indexes. But I don't know if that would be worth it or if it would just get confusing. So let's say streamline tile claim text with like standard tile arrangements. I don't know. if you ever worked with RPG Maker, which is kind of where I get my roots for game design, it was one of the first things I ever did in terms of programming. They had something called an auto tile, where you could like have a center and then like all the edges of the tile, and then it would automatically like generate every combination of those for you, so you could have like, it's kind of hard to explain unless you've worked with tile maps, but you could have any arrangement of those tiles and it would still keep those borders for you. So it might be nice to have something like that, but I don't know how well it will work. With the system, because there's like different depths and everything. Anyway, okay, so what I want to do real quick before we get to the art is just to fix up this position distortions, and I think it's pretty much done already. I already have this distort hex face that distorts and bumps. But I need to blend between the different ones based on the blend values. So positions also will depend on the blends. Oh, accidentally did star instead of and. Okay, what's it complaining about? The name run does not exist. Wait, I'm confused. Did I mess up something? I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna undo everything I've done. I'm not sure. I don't see any code that I added that should have caused that. The name run does not exist. Okay, somehow we're missing oh, I see, it deleted that brace. Okay. Okay, so anyway, got this to start and bump. Okay, I guess this is simple. But it'd be nice. I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, I already have the start and bump for the 3 different versions, and I don't think I really need to worry about doing these because right now we don't have edge of the world, and I'm not exactly sure how that will even work, so I'm just going to delete that code and it will just assume. Okay, and same thing for here. Yeah, so I'm gonna, since we're finished with this, I'm going to just delete all this extra code because I think I've moved it to the correct places now. And if I ever need it, then I can just look in the history. Okay, so now I can uncomment this, and I guess it'd be nice if I could have one function that could take care of every type of tile, but I don't think that would be very easy to do. Oh, I have input or insert mode on. That's what was messing up that if statement. Okay. It'd be nice if they had like a light on the keyboard, like numlock and everything, that would tell you if the insert key was active, because I remember when I was little, I would accidentally press it and I had no idea what was going on, and I'd have to like close out of the text editor in order to get it to reset, because I didn't even know I pressed that key. Okay, so anyway, we'll have Proto A and Proto B. And then I have to pass the blend mode, don't I? But I'm not sure. Okay, so it's the last thing. And we just need the X value because this is how much of Proto A to take. And this is the whole reason why we need the blend values even in alpha blend mode, because alpha blend mode doesn't actually send these to the shader like the normal blend mode does. But we still need them for blending between the two prototypes here for distortion. Okay, so this is going to be a longer line. Okay, now what's wrong with it? Takes position A, B, C, and then 2 blend values. No overload takes 6. Oh, oh yeah, I forgot to rename it. Okay. And on the edge. At some point I need to decide how I want to handle the edge of the map. I don't even know really how I want it to look. I think I need to do like the skybox and everything first. And decide on the style. Like, do I want everything to look like kind of a floating island? Well, these are supposed to be like miniature figures, so maybe it should look like they're on a board or something. And then outside the map can just be, I don't know. If I really wanted to go with that style, I could make outside the map look like a wooden table or something, but... Okay, so now that I added that in, should be some distortion. What's going on right here? Interesting. Okay, so for some reason the margins are getting distorted, but not the hexagons? Okay, so get bump value. Oh, I don't even do the distortion map, do I? I just do the bump. Okay, let's do it this way. So vector 3. So I don't need this bump value in any way except as a vector, so why don't I just What do I want to really do that? I could just have it return a vector 3. Then I have to do like a vector 3 triangle average here. Well, okay. I can really take care of this myself. Yeah, let's make this a little simpler. Okay, let's rename this to get bump. And then why doesn't... Okay, I decided to lerp between the heights separately. Do I really need to do that? No, because that's like the same... Because I'm basically separating the unit vector from the stretch amount. Okay. So really I can just... Okay, so this will be float raw, and then I'd return raw times prototype height map bump length. Because I do that here anyway. I don't know why I decided to make it separate. Probably, I think it's because when I used to try and change the normal with the bump map, I needed to have just the raw value, but I'm not doing that anymore. Okay, so here are the bump. I'll just put that into the Y component because it goes straight up. Okay, so I have the bump and then the distort. Oh, I did distort it, or it was right up here. Okay. Oh, right, because the bump, I wanted to bump based on the distorted position. Okay, well I can still do that. Yeah, but I'm gonna clean up this code a bit. Okay, and then here it's pretty much the same. So I complicated things because I have the flat, like the distortions separately, and then I interpolate them together. Okay, but I do actually just get the bump value based on the interpolated distorted positions, so... Equals mathf lerp. Get distort. Okay, what's it not like about that? Oh, I need to do vector 3, not just a float interpolation. Then I do basically the same thing for the bump. Okay, I think this is much simpler. And I don't think that it messes up the math, really. Okay, we can do the same thing here, except I'll have to do the triangle average instead of just a lerp. Okay, and this triangle average is really simple. It's just we multiply each one by the corresponding interpolation value, and then the last one is just whatever is left over out of 1. That's called a very centric coordinate system. Let's just rename that. Okay, so now let's see if that works, and hopefully I won't have holes anymore. I'm not sure exactly what was causing that, or actually if I even fixed the issue. Nope, we're still getting weird differences between the margins and the rectangles. Is it because the blend values... well, the blend values shouldn't mess that up. Because the whole point of the blend value is it tells you how much of one... Like, we know it worked with the colors unless it's gotten broken somehow. Alright, so here, like, I'm not... Yeah, I have this height map as white, so actually it shouldn't even be distorted on the Y axis because the distortion map only distorts on the X and Z. And I think every texture has the same height map, so... Actually, now that I think about it, well, it doesn't actually make any difference, except... Okay, oh, I know what I should do. I should just make this height map bump length to 0. If that fixes the problem, I mean, that's okay, but that's still a bug. Where was that? Okay, so anyway, what I was trying to say before I interrupted myself is that white actually makes everything be at the top of the bump length. So really, if I wanted to have no bumps, I should have used it. I should have used like like a middle gray texture, but I can just set the bump length to 0 and that will be fine. It accomplishes the same goal. So does that fix the issue? Not completely, although that definitely does help. Okay, let's see. Actually, okay, so no, it's not this. It's actually even distorted on the X and Y planes because I can see a gap here. Okay, and the issue is that these points are not going to the edge of the triangle or the hexagon. It looks like the triangle margins don't have an issue. It's the rectangle margins are all... like a little bit too far inside. Good if I look. Okay, the camera's clipping, but hard to see. But I think that the triangle does match exactly the corner of the hexagon. Oh, not down here though, does it? Or actually, I think it does, but the other hexagon moves outwards. So for some reason, triangles and the hexagons don't seem to be being distorted. Oh, okay, that's the reason. It's the wrong function here. So the rectangle, so the other ones were being distorted, but not the rectangle. Okay, so that was a silly mistake. Okay, yeah, so now I think everything's back to normal. No, it's not, is it? Still having some weird stuff with the rectangles. And again, the triangles match it perfectly. I'm confused about what could be the issue here. Because I've pretty much used this code before. Oh, okay. I noticed that I add it instead of setting it. I'm surprised that didn't cause more of an issue, actually. Because the stored and bump adds these values to the position instead of just giving the bump a distortion amount. Let's go into scene. Oh yeah, because now everything is in a completely different place. Oh, okay, things are still messed up. Yeah, and it's on, okay, it's on the XY plane. Okay, so now the, just the triangle, okay, it still matches, so it's just the rectangle margins. What is going on? Because the triangles and the hexagons match perfectly. Don't want to do that. So there's nothing here, but that's just because the bump height is 0. So they're not distorted on the Y plane, it's just the X and Z. Maybe... yeah, and this interpolation value should be the amount of A to use. Guess maybe I'll just look in the blend creator to make sure, but okay, I didn't expect to spend so much time on this. Okay, I think I'll get rid of these comments as well. Okay, so... Oh, well, no, this is right, because if this is close to 0, that means it's close to the start of the rectangle, which means that's the amount of block 0 to use in this blend. That's why we invert that. So I think this logic is fine, but obviously something's wrong, and I'm not... Probably something silly, but... Oh, you know what? Does this, like... Okay, it takes the position, okay, but it doesn't add it to it. I wanted to make sure. Does this do it? No, it just uses the positions to find the UV and then grabs the color. Alright, so, okay. Let's set the distort length to 0 and see if I'm still getting issues. Okay, I don't see anything. Actually, I wonder... Okay, let's test something else. Let's bring it back to how it was, and I want to see... Did that... Okay, that did what I want. 25, half, and then this should be 0.2. So I want to see if the error only happens on the border between different tile types, and that would indicate that it's something to do with blending. I don't notice anything here, but there's lots of problems here, and then nothing. Yeah, so it has something to do with blending between the tiles. Oh, is it because I interpolate... Let's see, so at this point, it just uses the blend value at this point, or the distortion value at this point directly because there's no blending. And that should happen here as well because this, the blend value should be telling the game to only use this. Is it like inverted? That doesn't make any sense. It was inverted? How did that happen? Or is that still a seam? Okay, come on, camera. No, it's matching all right. How did they get inverted? Okay, let me see. So, did I do this wrong? But shouldn't it be when the lerp data z is 0? That means it's closest to the parent hexagon. So that means that we would want to use full 1% of the parent hexagon. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right, but when we're, oh, okay, I see what's going on. It's the way I did this interpolation. So the lerp value should be 1 when I want to use proto A fully. Well, that's how I was thinking about it, or that's how it is. But when I interpolate here, I put proto A first, so when lerp is 1, it actually chooses the second object. So I just need to flip these to get it to work how I expected. That's okay. So that was a silly mistake as I assumed it was, but so now I shouldn't need to invert that. Okay, yeah, so now everything is back to normal. Everything was just flipped where it was using the neighboring tiles data where it should have been using the main tiles data. Okay, so it's hard to, I mean, it is distorted obviously. Okay, well there you can kind of see a little bit. It's a subtle effect, but it'll help bring a little interest, I think. One thing I haven't checked in a while is the collider still working? Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, I was gonna say, does it double up these triangles, but no, it doesn't, so that's fine. Doesn't really make much difference. I think that the mesh is actually like that too. Okay, this is a good way I can check to see if any rectangle or hexagon is created twice, and it looks like no. Because before we had it where some triangles were created twice and it was hard to see which ones, but now since the outline stays the same when I switch between the two meshes, we can tell that nothing is duplicated, which is good to see. Alright, so I finished this now. Alright, so okay, this cut out and that is a maybe. So I guess I'm ready to do some art. Okay, well the first thing I want to do, let's make a new, well I'll just save as what are we gonna call it? I guess let's just call it pretty terrain tile map. Okay, and I can use these shapes as a guide, but I think I'll delete those. Okay, so the hexagon. How do I guess the question is, how do I want it to look? I want like the edges to be darkened. And I like the idea of having a different tile when the altitude is high up. We could even go so far as to have one. Like right now we have 3 layers, but I don't know exactly how much the game, like how many layers a final game would have. I guess it doesn't really matter for my purposes right now. 3 layers seems to be pretty good. I don't think I'd really have more than 3 or 4, but I think for now we'll just have like a low and a high texture version. Okay, so let's move these. What would be the best way to do this? Maybe we can have a layer. We'll already have this as a grid. Let's rename this to art, and then I'll have another layer that's. Oh yeah, well, Inkscape has a built-in grid, but it doesn't work very well. If I remember right. Oh. Well, now it's working. I guess I had to like restart or something. Well, first of all, I should also change the size of the document. Okay, so if we're gonna have 8 by 8, which is probably a good starting position or a starting point. Okay, so maybe 512 times 2 is 248 R1, 124, gosh. Yeah, and then 248 is above that. So maybe we'll start there. What is... Okay, so 248 divided by 8 would be 256. That's still a bit low. If I have 512 for one tile. Okay, well we could do that, but maybe the better idea would be to separate... Well, it doesn't really matter that much. Because I think graphics cards can have huge textures. But there's going to be a lot of empty space until we implement more tile types, and we're also going to want... The mod authors might not want to have such a huge texture. I don't know, I'm probably overthinking things. It's so way bigger, and now... Okay, well, I guess I'll get rid of these all, and I'll use the grass textures as a guide. So it's 512 by 512 now as one tile. I want it to be pretty high resolution because now that I have to now that I'm actually using a texture, we want every, instead of just like only changing color on the boundary of a mesh, I still want the terrain to also have about the same style, so we're going to need a pretty big texture. But I don't think the texture will actually be that big of a file size because it's mostly going to be flat colors, so we'll see. Okay, so I want to change the grid size. How did I do that before? Preferences. Okay, so change this to every 512, but this didn't really do it immediately. I had to like restart. Kind of annoying. Oh, I'm putting it in the art layer, so I want to put this in the grod layer. I'm gonna snap to the corner. I guess I can just set 0, 0 myself. Okay, so I want to save that hexagon, but I don't actually need to have this stuff. I just need to have the purple. Oops. Oh, well, that's fine. And then the dark purple is the margin. Alright, so now the grid is done. You can see increases, that's just an artifact of this vector graphic rendering, but it won't actually matter because that part will never appear. Obviously the grid will never appear in the final. Oops. So yeah, this stuff should be in the art layer actually. Okay, so now I can get rid of these and I can just put there, and then to center it, okay, I guess I'll need to select the grid again. Alright. Okay, so I'm just gonna ungroup it for now to make things simple, and we'll get rid of these little dots. Okay, so this is the actual texture that's gonna show up. I want it... Actually, how high is it? It's like... Okay, so the big thing is 512, and then I have a 4 pixel margin. Oh, okay, well this is actually a little different because I just scaled it without assuming the margin size. Well, there's no reason to have a bigger margin. I can still have 4 pixels. Okay, let's get rid of this then. So this will be everything including the margin. Oh, well that actually goes all the way to the edge. So this needs to be the same color as the border of our hexagon, and then the actual art will be 508 pixels high. And you can see here it's a fractional pixels in width, but that's okay because we have the margin that it can bleed into, so we shouldn't have any artifacts there. Okay, now we're just centering it in there. Okay, so let's make it... I don't really know what color I want. Well, this is a fairly bright game, so maybe something... What would I want for dirt? Okay, and then I kind of want a dark border, and I'd like it to like fade in. I don't know what would be the best way to do that in Inkscape. Am I gonna have to like create 6 shapes? Or can I use like a stroke? Okay, well the issue is I want every border to have a gradient. I've never used the mesh tool. This could actually be exactly what I need. Although, does it... okay, no, I don't think so. Okay, so I guess what I need to do is just create another hexagon, and I'll just make this darker so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so how big do I want the border to be? How about, I don't know, 32 pixels, so 508. So minus 64 because I want 32 on every side. Okay, so I'll make a hexagon this big. And then I'll center it. Okay, so now I have that shape. Do I want to... Oh, it doesn't really matter. It's just a hexagon. So I guess I'll take the difference between these two. Okay, so now I have a border shape. And then in order to have a gradient go inwards, I could use a radial gradient. That's not gonna look... Well, it might be okay. It's not perfect. Maybe I'll just use it to test this style. You see what I'm looking for. Oh, I don't know. It's not having the effect I thought it would. Maybe it's because the middle... Oh yeah, it's backwards. So I need to set this full alpha and then make us darker. Did that do what I want? Okay, yeah, it did. So this is where I actually want the gradient to start. Oh, that's ugly. Well, it's just a bad color, but it's not what I wanted. I want it to be, like, just have a straight gradient from each edge, but that's not going to be super easy to do. Yeah, that doesn't look good at all. Okay, well, let's not worry about this for now. Okay, and then I also want... I wish... Okay, well, what I need to do... Okay, this isn't going to look good unless it has the gradient, I don't think, so there's no really reason to go any further. But what I'd like to do is just slice this into 6 pieces and then have a gradient that goes straight towards the center of the hexagon. What's the... trying to think about how the best way to do that would be. I guess I'll wait. Okay, I'll make a duplicate, and I can reposition it easily by moving it to the center of the margin hexagon. So no big deal there. Okay, well in that case, I think the easiest way would be to just delete all these extra edges that I don't need, and then change these to just be points. Okay, that didn't have my desired effect. Why is it like disappearing whenever I change those to be cusp points? Oh, I think what I need to do is remove the edge between some of these hexagons, or some of these points, so... well this... Okay, I'm afraid it's gonna like delete both. Oh no, I deleted the edges themselves. Okay, this is kind of annoying. So what I should do is remove that edge. And then remove this edge. Then when I delete that, I don't know, it's... Oh, okay, okay, so maybe I need to dissolve those two. There we go, and now we just have this. If I delete that. Okay, and then I can make these point. That was a pain. But I think that's what I want now. Okay, so now let's try and do a gradient, maybe? Okay, so now I've got to try and get it parallel to towards the center of the hexagon. Snap to bounding boxes, snap to centers. Will this work? Okay, that works, but I don't know if that's going to be very useful. I'll just eyeball it, it doesn't need to be perfect. Yeah, that's actually perfect. I want it to blend smoothly. I think it might be a bit too small, actually. Which is a bit annoying, because it's not going to be super easy to fix. But let's see, can I... If I duplicate this, it'd be nice if I could just rotate it by 60. And then move it. Okay, let's turn back on snapping and let's see if I can get it to snap. Okay, it did. I can see the gradient is not aligned perfectly, but... Snap over here. There we go. Okay, so that's a start, although, yeah, the gradient's not perfect. Seems like there's gotta be a better way to do this, but... Okay, well here I just snapped that to be horizontal, so maybe what I should have done is made the horizontal one first and then rotated it around. Let me try that one time and see if that looks better. Because, I mean, it wasn't really that hard to rotate them. Yeah, that does. You can still see a small seam there, but I don't know if that will be visible in the game. Okay, so let's, I guess I could do 2 in a row. Control D. Y. Oh, I need to rotate it twice now, and then... no, I don't want it to snap there. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a gradient. Little kind of pop. Okay, let's just test it real quick. Okay, to remember my things. Let's call it pretty terrain tile map. It's a pretty big texture. Oh, okay, well, that's named weird. I guess I accidentally deleted the dot. I don't want to save it again. Alright, so yeah, sRGB. Keep the alpha. Generate maps. And then I want wrap mode to be clamp and filter mode to be bilinear. Okay, and I need to override this so that it has the alpha. Max size. Yeah, it shrunk it. Okay, so this is 21 megabytes. That's pretty big. That makes sense that when we double the dimensions, it quadruples the size. Let me see. Well, I still think I need to have a very high resolution for the texture. I mean, for the tile map. But I wonder, how big is this asset bundle? Oh yeah, it's not even a megabyte yet. So that's gonna make the asset bundle probably a lot bigger. Or not probably, it will make it a lot bigger. Unless it's able to compress this a whole lot. Okay, well it's nice that this lets me downscale it. Let's try smaller. Alright, and I need to change the texture size. Where is it? Here. To 2048. And, oh yeah. Need to add this to test content, and I can remove the 2 other texture maps because we are not going to use them. And then I need to change the block prototypes to use the pretty terrain. Should maybe think of a better name for this, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, I think I can keep these indexes the same for now. Okay, so let's rebuild the asset bundle. How big is that texture on the file system? I'm kind of curious. Oh, the asset bundle is still pretty small. But the manifest is 2 kilobytes? What's going on with that? Oh, well, 2 kilobytes, it's nothing. Okay. Yeah, so even with that 5 megabyte texture, the asset bundle is still just like 1.5 megabytes. That's not bad at all. But anyway, I wanted to see how big this was on the file system before Unity. Okay, so it's pretty big here. Oh, well, no, it's not. It's really small. The height map is bigger, but yeah, that's because it's PNG file, and so most of our texture map are just those 2 purple colors, so that's really simple to encode. But when Unity has to re-encode the texture, it uses like a bitmap type thing, which is much bigger. But okay, so yeah, this is something. What's with the dark? Oh, it's just getting the margin around the triangles, so. Okay, so I think that the gradient does look pretty nice, although I still think it might be a little too small. But I guess it'll be hard to tell until I actually get in the game. So yeah, let's do a bit more to it. Okay, also this gradient is kind of ugly. If I change, what is even this color? It's just, oh no, it's not black, but that was much better. A general idea of thumb is that whenever you change a shadow, you want to bring it towards more cooler tones, which generally away from yellow. Well, it depends on what your light source is. Usually it's either this yellow or cyan, so you want to move it away from that. Okay, so unfortunately it didn't apply that to all these, but not that hard to change. And then the other side is just 0 alpha, so I don't need to... Or do I need to change this? Oh yeah, because it does have a bit of a different color in the middle. Oh, I guess I could just copy this. Okay, yeah, so I think that's looking better already. And then I'll take this color and change the margin hexagon to... Okay, well first let's make a duplicate of that and page down. And let's make it... So -8 is 504. Did I? I think I might have made a mistake here with this art. Yeah, because I think I did this 508. Okay, well I think I can fix that pretty easily by just selecting them all and changing this to 504 because, yeah, the margin is 4 on each side, so. Okay, let's actually group them and then select the margin and then that, and I can align it. Okay, and then this other one. Select the margin. Okay. So now I want to select the margin again and change it to be the dark color, but I think I need to reselect or recopy it because I got a different value. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so there's a bit of a line there, but I think that's, again, just an artifact from Inkscape. So hopefully it won't show up in the actual game. Okay, so yeah, that's positioned right. Yeah, again, I'm not completely sure about these colors, but it's dirt, not sand, so I need to keep that in mind. Alright, so I should probably add a little bit of interest to this. Maybe, I don't know, a dark swirl or something. I can have different variations, but for now I'll just have one texture object. Well, before I do that, let's actually take all these and make them smooth. Okay, that's the start, but then these two need to be... Oops, it still had everything selected. Oh, is it auto-balanced? Okay, that was just symmetric. Oh, there, auto-smooth. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to use the auto-smooth because it looks a bit weird here. But it's a good idea to... It helps to get general idea. So I kind of want it to be like a corkscrew. Okay, I can do something like that actually. Okay, I don't know. Okay, so, and then I'll just make this darker. I guess I should just use the shadow color. Turn off snapping. I don't know. I think the color for one is too contrasting. Oh, that kind of looked nice with it being brighter, actually. Yeah, because I don't want the tiles to be too bright because they are supposed to blend, like they're not supposed to take away too much from the characters. Um, why is it doing that? Oh, because they're auto smooth. I want these to be points actually. I'm thinking this will just be a small highlight. Bring it towards yellow just slightly. That's kind of... Okay, it doesn't really have to be perfect right now. And then maybe another one right here. We'll just duplicate it. Yeah, I already like this much better than what we had before, where it was just a beating texture. Okay, so that's something like that. I don't know for sure if I like this specific texture, but oh, is it done already? That was quick. No, it's still working. Okay, that's... Well, when you zoom in really close, you can tell that it's a texture, but at about this distance, it looks fine, and we probably really won't let you zoom in the camera like that. So I think that 256 is actually a fine resolution for one tile, looks like. And now we can see it's automatically rotated, and obviously I'll need to have like variations on this tile. So all the dirt won't look exactly the same. But I think this is a general idea. Also, again, I think this looks more like sand than dirt. Also, these are Godzilla-sized creatures, so you probably wouldn't be able to see one little swirl in the sand. Yeah, I need to keep keeping that in mind. But maybe I should get rid of all this purple so we have something semi-good looking for all the tiles before I start trying to finish them all. And it doesn't really matter if they're all ordered, like if I have all the dirt tiles on here or not. Though, I mean, I guess it doesn't really hurt to have one tile on each row. It wouldn't really be that hard to rearrange anyway, but... Yeah, I don't want to get too bogged down in trying to over-organize or plan too much ahead. Alright, so for the margin, it takes up the whole rectangle, so it's going to be really easy. Go back, and I'm just going to copy this grid. Of course, I didn't put it in the right spot. Okay, so let's ungroup it. How do I want this to look? Well, I guess I should just match the edge here. Whether I want it to get brighter or not, I don't know. I've got it, since I do the alpha blending, I've got to have a little border. Okay, let's see. I think it looked better so that, like, because I don't really want the edges to be dark. So maybe here will be dark, and then if I want to brighten it, I can brighten towards the middle. But I kind of think that the margin should just kind of stay the dark color, and maybe not really have a gradient to the bright, because that would draw more attention to the hexagon faces if they're brighter than the margins. So I kind of like that idea. So if that's the case, really I just need to make the entire thing the darker color here. I guess I'll just leave it flat. This is supposed to be... Okay, this is the dominant side, so... I'm not going to worry about making it look too good right now. But let's do this first, and then... Then yeah, the recessive side would be like this. Just want to get some temp art in there so we don't have purple all over the place. Alright, and then the triangle. I need to bring it up to be 512, I think. Oh yeah, it's in millimeters. I wish it would remember that I always do it pixels. Oh, that's weird, the width and the height. Oh, well, they are pretty much the same, it's just a rounding error. Alright, so... Alright, so how do I want to do this? Again, I think I'll just make the entire thing be the dark brown color for now. Okay, so I'll ungroup it. I'll delete these margins and the dots. And that, so... Okay, this includes drawing the 4 pixel margin, but that's okay. So, what do I want to do for the first, second, and third versions? Guess I could just have a straight line across here from the 2 centers. I don't know if there's an easy way to do that. Okay, let's do object to path, and I think what I could do is pick these 2 and then say to create insert a node. Okay, it does do it in the center. And then I want to select the bottom 2, do a new node, and then I think I can just subtract that one and subtract this one. Okay, and since this isn't a ring, it's a lot easier to work with. Okay, so there we go. And then the second will actually be the same, so... I mean, we could even just have this be the first and second. And then the third one would be a full triangle, so I probably should have kept the full triangle. That's no big deal, really. Oh, well, I do have to remake it. Okay, let's just open one of the old terrain files and I'll grab the triangle from there. Okay, yeah, it's the wrong size though. Okay, so I guess I need to get the whole group so it will scale correctly. Okay, so again, this will be the first and second triangle, and this will be the third triangle, or the one that's under every other layer. But I'm just gonna make them all the same color. Actually, no, I need to keep this orangish one. Okay, so now I think I have a full set. I guess I should just test this out. Let's remove or hide the grid layer. This will be, yeah, it'll look a little weird in game because everything will be just pure black, I think. That's not color here. Alright, and now I'll rebuild the asset bundles again. Drag them over here. Okay, and the new texture should be inside. Okay. We're getting some black. Okay, so I need to figure that out. And then yeah, everything else is just pure black because there's no color there. Or it has alpha of 0. So the shader just colors it as black. But what's with these borders? Okay, I think it's an issue with the alpha blending. It's not saving the margin correctly. Okay, so I want to turn off the wireframe. Now what is going on here? Oh, I see. So this is the dominant texture. Oh, I think I know one other issue. Let me see. So I need to change this to be first and second. And then take this away. Then the third triangle is just position 4 now. So I don't know. I don't think that was what was causing the issue. Spell that correctly. And last, do that one more time for grass, even though I guess it doesn't show up yet, but. And then in the mod loading, I need to let it know that that's a valid term. So it would be right here, block prototype. Okay, so I just add something else here. So case first and second. And again, we'll throw an error if somebody tries to do this on a hex type because hex has no concept of first. And the way we'll do this, block texture, alpha sort requirement, first or second. Okay, so that should be all I have to do there. I guess while I'm there, I should have just went ahead and defined second or third, but I don't know if that will be as used. Okay, well that was first and second, so second and third, I guess I'll call that. And this would only be valid for a triangle margin, so copy that. Okay, but anyway, now we're ready to play. And I guess, okay, I don't think that will fix the issue with the black borders, but it will fix one issue at least. Still got some pretty bad borders, but alright, so okay, I guess the okay, so what is happening here? Okay, I think I know what's going on. How do I fix this? I think it's an issue with Inkscape. So that's annoying. Maybe I can't do this in Inkscape. But the problem is here, as it fades at the edge, it's fading this color to black while also fading the alpha at the same time. So you get a small gradient to black, and that's making this border right here. So that's not my problem. It's because of the way Inkscape renders PNG files. So that's usually not an issue. Like if you're just going to use a PNG file on a web page or something, but since I'm cutting up this texture and using it in a game, it is an issue. So let's see. If I open this in Inks or in Ace Sprite, which was made for game development, and then resave it, will it fix the issue for me? I wonder if there's a way I can see. The sprite without the alpha layer. I don't see one. I bet there is a way. But hopefully just from doing that, Inkscape will have fixed the issue. Because what it should do, or Ace Sprite will have fixed the issue. But what it should do is where we have 0 alpha, it should continue this color outwards for a small bit, so that when we try to blend between them, the color doesn't fade to black, it's just the alpha that fades to 0. Like I said, I guess Inkscape doesn't concern itself with that issue because it's not meant for games. It's kind of a pain, I don't know. I really prefer vector graphics over trying to do something in like Photoshop, for example. But I might be forced to. Okay, unfortunately that Ace Sprite did not fix it. So then also, what is this? Trying to see a pattern. That seems to be the edge of the third triangle. Maybe it's the same issue, it's just for some reason more pronounced. I'm not sure. It is obviously... It almost seems like it's going past the margin though. Because that part is at the edge of the UV, so it shouldn't even be shown. Well, I was always a little surprised that these triangles didn't reach all the way to the bottom of the area, because I think that might be the issue. Um, okay, let's try to rebuild this. Maybe we can fix at least that one problem. I'll just delete that for now. So, let's ungroup this. What I think is happening is this was supposed to be the drawable area, but the bottom of the triangle... Okay, yeah, so that was... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I did this. I guess I just wasn't thinking, but it's this... This is the edge of the margin right here, and so that's also position 0, 0 for the triangle. So this should have actually stretched all the way down to the bottom. Or actually, it should have been more like that. And then just had... Okay, let's see. And then also filled this area in, I think. So, let's see. Okay, so the first point for the triangle... Oh yeah, it's not gonna work because it's not... Point 0 for a triangle is right there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I guess... Okay, so the whole thing is 512, so 512 minus 8 is... I need to lock this. 504. Why does that not match up? I'm confused. Was it on a different unit? Okay, no, that's 512. Why does it say this is 504? That's... Oh, okay, I know why. It's, again, because when I scaled everything up, the margin also scaled, but the margin should not because it's still just 4 pixels. Okay, so what I need to do here is change this to 4. And then the height should also be 504. Okay, so this is the actual area of the triangle that's drawn, and then the margin needs to... I basically kind of need to, if I could, extrude the triangle in all directions by 4 pixels. But I don't think Inkscape has an easy way to do that. Could I... And I can't... Well, okay, I can do this actually. So I'll change the height to 5, or the width to 512. Okay, and just so I can see what I'm doing, I'm gonna make this a different color. Okay, I'm trying to select that so I can center it. Okay, so that takes care of the margin there, but not the top part. So in order to do that, I need to change the height. Okay, don't want that. To 512 as well. Oh no, I need to change it to 508. It's just 4 pixels. Okay, so that takes care of the margin. Okay, is this an optical illusion or is it thicker? Okay, I didn't. No, this is right. This is right. Is this not a regular triangle? I think it is actually the same. It just looks thicker at the bottom. Or I don't know. It might be changing slightly. Hard to tell. Regardless, it probably doesn't matter. But the issue before is that I didn't have a rectangle down at the bottom that was also part of the margin, so I just need to create that. So let's change. Okay, actually, what's pixels already? So the height is 4, and then the width is 512. I think I'll actually make it slightly higher, so or slightly. Oh well, no, that'll mess things up. Well, it doesn't really matter. I was gonna say slight. I don't want it to slightly mess things up because it's gonna make the margin have a little bump right there, but that doesn't actually make any difference. So I want to go down. I want the Y 0, and then I need to center the X position. Did that actually do it? Do it? Okay, so now the margin is mixed up. I think I'll just join these objects together with the union command, so now it's all one object, so I can change the color easily. I feel like I think I need to do a little more here. Like, okay, it's not actually... Yeah, this is definitely not... Like, it's definitely thinner at the top than it is at the bottom. But because it should have like a flat top right here, just slightly. But I don't think it actually matters that much because... I mean, it's probably a difference between 1 pixel and 1 pixel is all you really need to blend. Okay, so if I set this to the same color as the actual triangle, which I'm definitely going to keep them separate, then we should get rid of at least some of those ugly black lines in the triangles. There'll still be some for here because, yeah, the margin is still messed up. I guess I could copy that. Okay, so let's just delete this and I'll bring... Okay, well, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'll just duplicate this margin. Go to the grid again. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing I did where I just added extra... an extra point. Oops, what did that do? Just trying to select these two and then I'll add a point. And then do the same thing to the bottom. Oh, there we go. Then I could just delete all these extras and change these to be flat. Okay, so that's a quick half triangle, or I guess third triangle. Oh, actually it's a quarter because there's 4. Okay, so again, this won't fix the ugly black line that we get at this edge where the triangles blend, because it's the same issue that's happening here, but the margins should be fixed. Okay, I've got to rebuild the asset bundles one more time. Oh, I lost track of time again. It seems to always happen. That's okay though. We'll be at a good stopping point after this, so we'll test to make sure this works, and then I'll do some... Then I'll need to go get some lunch. Okay, so... Figure out a way to fix the black alpha gradients in Inkscape, or switch programs. Really rather not, but found out some things that it's not so great about Inkscape's PNG exporter while working on this project. First, well, I guess that both have to do with blending. First, it doesn't handle gamma very well, and second, doesn't handle alpha that well. Okay. But yeah, we fixed those margins, thankfully. So we have a nice... Yeah, here there's no black. I can't even tell that it switches textures there. But any place that we have some kind of alpha line, which is, again, where the terrain is layered, we have a bad looking black little line. And then of course all this texture is black because I don't have any stone or grass textures. And then of course the temporary little dirt texture doesn't look too great. Also, I think this outline is... Yeah, this is too dark, so I need to do something about that. Well, maybe not. I just need to see. You just don't want the terrain to be, like I said, too contrasting, because that draws your eye away from the characters, which are the main focal point, or should be anyway. But I'm thinking that this looks way better than the old version, because you can actually see the different tiles. And this layering is also going to make it really easy to show. Like, I've always had an issue, like, how do I want to show if there's a stone block underneath this dirt block? But with layering, all I have to do is make this, like, insert a small stone section in there, so that would be nice. But anyway, I guess I better sign off for now. I guess we'll, again, I'm gonna try and research how to fix this little black thing, and so tomorrow will probably be a pretty much only art stream. We're gonna try to get some good looking art for the terrain. So that should be fun. Let me see. There's nothing else to write. I think I'm good. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming by and watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow at around noon Eastern, and maybe some afternoon streams as well. We'll see. Also, feel free to follow me here on Twitch or on Twitter if you'd like to be notified when I go live. I have a YouTube channel where I upload previous videos if you want to catch up there. And I have a Discord server where you can chat with me throughout the day. I'd love to have you. But yeah, check out links in chat or my video description if you're interested. And I guess that's all for me for right now. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.